So episode 2, I got a good warm-up question for you.
Okay.
Would you rather be a shinobi in the First Great Ninja War, and this is Naruto, by the way.
I know.
But you're not giving main character vibes. You're definitely a side character.
So I'm going to die. Yeah.
Maybe.
The chances are high.
With the First Great Ninja War, there was a very high.
Yeah, the casualty rate was
extremely high, especially with the younger crowd. Or would you rather just be a normal human in the Chainsaw Man universe?
That's tough.
You get to live your normal life, but remember, pretty much anything's a devil.
Yeah.
They have tomato
and shit
devils.
happens.
They have chicken
all
devils.
All of the time.
Grape devils.
What the fuck? Do they really?
And I don't think you got to this part because it's in the manga and not in the anime yet. But there's this dude preaching on the side of the street, and he says 7 out of 20 people walking down the sidewalk right now will die from a devil. It's like a statistic. I wish I could say that word right.
Statistic?
Statistic, yeah.
I think I would prefer...
It'd be dope as hell to have chakra.
Yeah, I think I would definitely prefer to be a shinobi. Like, even though, like, the chances are high that I'm probably gonna, like, die, it would be dope to have chakra and to, like, have, like, abilities and shit. Because I have a chance. Like, I have somewhat of a chance. The chances they're slim, but I could survive. Because I don't know, like if you're just like a regular like civilian in Chainsaw Man and like you just see shit popping off, you're just fucking terrified. And like you're gonna be like,
I'd agree with you on that one. Because even if you do just say gain a devil's powers, most of the time the people that do, at least in the first season that we watch, they end up dying horribly anyway. Exactly. So it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter.
And at least as a shinobi and you have chakra, I feel like, and other people like me could relate to this who dropped out of community college because of that whole, paying attention in class thing.
Yeah.
I feel like we would shine there. Like it's our time. We have chakra. We can actually study for once.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't remember the deaths being as gruesome as they are in Chainsaw Man. Is that correct?
In Naruto?
Yeah.
Well, especially
compared to Chainsaw Man. Obviously, like, you're getting shanked and stuff with swords and, like, you got, like, people's abilities and shit. But, like, it's not like you're getting cut in half or, like, I
mean, you remember Zabuza? You remember that episode with Haku? You remember watching that back in the day? The boy that kind of looked like a girl, the ice powers, very early on. Zabuza died a pretty terrible death.
What was the death?
It's basically death by 1,000 cuts. He got stabbed 1,000,000 times with all types of weapons and just bled out to death.
What the fuck?
Yeah, no, they die pretty horribly in Naruto. It's not as graphic as Chainsaw
that
Man,
might
but
be the difference for me
some
then.
people just get their throat slit and then just bleed out on the battlefield, which might be worse. I don't know. At least when you're getting hit by a chainsaw, you're pretty much done.
Okay. I guess I missed all those episodes.
Well, it's
I guess you just showed me the good ones.
I mean, it's kind of like, people are dying. It's just not.
They just don't like hone in on it.
Yeah, like they do with Berserk
quick.
or,
It's quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, it's given. Like, okay, he got stabbed in the face. He's down.
R.I.P. Jiraiya.
Oh, yeah. That was also pretty gruesome.
I mean, compared to like, he was still assembled. Like, he was still intact. He just had a bunch of swords on him. But he was still a body.
Welcome to Late Night Jutsu's podcast hour. It's a series for couples to discuss all things anime and manga related. I'm your host, Tyler.
And I'm Kaylin.
And I agree with you. But still, you're kind of picking the worst of two evils there. But having chakra would be cool.
Yeah.
So, December 24th, aka Christmas Eve. Most couples would probably be enjoying movies like Home Alone, Santa Claus,
The Grinch,
Elf. It's a great one. We, on the other hand, went a different route.
We didn't do that.
We watched season 2 of Bluelock. And despite all the poor negative reviews of its earlier release this year, I enjoyed it. It was good. Mm-hmm. I thought it freaking smacked.
Yeah, I liked it. It got me excited. And I think it's not like, are we caught up or is it just like finished? No, it's finished.
I don't think we're caught up. I think there might be 3 more episodes left in this season.
But they're not like aired yet.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean by caught up. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, no, I enjoyed it. Like it got me excited. I'm ready for the next episodes. Like that's what a second season should be about. And I know I said season and it's fine.
You put a little seasoning on it.
Yeah, a little seasoning.
Slap your mama on there. But anyway, when it first came out earlier this year, the second season, I saw so many negative reviews about it.
Yeah.
And like people straight up just
we're shitting on it,
giving up that show. And I think where most of the hate comes from is the new studio that animated it, because they did a lot of the 3D rendering and a lot of the amateurish transitions between scenes. Like it's very obvious, even if like my YouTube skills, I can tell like, okay, that's a preset transition that they used right there. Kind of weird.
So like more low quality.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the actual content of the show is good.
Yes.
It's just the overall animations they used were
lacking
compared to the first season. So I wouldn't deem it as a bad second season. So with that, let's actually talk about shows that had a good first season and then a bad second season. And I know off the top of my head, one that we mutually agree on is 7 Deadly Sins.
Yes.
By far. But for me, I have that same mentality as the people with Bluelock does, where the illustrations and the animations changed so much on the second season of 7 Deadly Sins. I was like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I know you don't mind it, but
yeah, no, I'm not as like critical when it comes to animations. Like I know like it's important and things like that, but it's just like I get more like tapped into the story. So like I'm more focused on like what's happening, not necessarily the graphics. And so if the story is good, I'm gonna watch it. But I guess that's where it was lacking for me, is like, I don't know, I just didn't really get into it. I was just like, the first one was so good and was just like, yes, and it gets you excited like as an anime, like it reels you in. And then you're ready for the second season. The second season's come out and
because it ended, I think you actually watched the whole second season, right? I couldn't make it that far. But the first season ended with him awakening his, what was it, like demon powers or something like that at the end of that battle. And then the start of the second season, it's like there's no mention of that, and it has to build back up to it. And I think that was the part that was killing me. I was like, come on, like, please.
You kind of wish that it would have just taken off from where it ended.
Kept building.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like a reset almost. And then with the bad animations on top of it, it crushed me.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
So I have a slightly controversial opinion. I don't really think it's that controversial, but the second season of Deathnote, I did not care for at all.
Yeah.
Because of the dynamic that changed between Light and L. Where in the first season it had that whole cops and robbers vibe to where like L basically just caught him in the second season, and then he just needs to prove that he needs some
evidence. Yeah.
Plus the intro song to the second season compared to the first season was just straight garbage. The first season was a straight banger, son. You've heard me just jamming out to it.
No, I know.
In general.
And I'm glad like that's something that we agree on. Like that's so important to me. Like the opening and ending theme songs of animes are just, they're either bangers or they're not, right? And I'm going to like just derail for a second. Inuyasha have some of the best songs, like especially the ending themes. Like I remember being young and like middle school and high school and like having those like illegally downloaded on my phone, and I would just listen to them and sing them in the hallways. They were so good. Okay, now we're gonna go back into the segment.
Can I derail again from there?
Sure.
I know I'm wearing the shirt. So I might be looking like a poser right now. But I could have sworn at the ending of every Inuyasha episode, they had the same song.
Bitch.
With the flowers.
I'm so sorry. No,
It's
they
fine. We're
didn't.
older here.
There
You
were
can say
different.
bitch. It's fine.
There were different. Okay. There were different seasons, So with the different seasons, there came different opening songs and different ending theme songs. Okay.
I got it. Maybe my brain just doesn't work.
And also, the scene that you're thinking of, oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've seen it, but I want to say that was, I don't know why season 2 is coming in my mind. I don't think that's right. I think it was like a little bit further along. But yes, I love that one. It's got that black backdrop with the red spider lilies.
Yeah, is that not the same one for every single?
No, they're
okay,
different.
See, maybe that's because I've only...
now you've got me second guessing myself. But no, I'm going to stick to my gut. They're different. They're not the same.
I believe you because I've only ever watched it on Adult Swim. I've never gone on Crunchyroll or anything to watch it in order. So I just viewed it as it came on TV, on cable network TV. And if they're showing, episode 2 and then episode 30, I didn't have a say in that. So it could be,
I got you.
My only reference is whatever they showed me. So I only ever saw that ending. I don't know.
I'm like, my ADHD brain is kicking in and I've just got like Fukaimori in my mind, which is a song. I can't remember the band, but it's so good. It's like an acoustic.
Death Note.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Like I was never like heavy into Death Note. Like all of my friends were, and you were. And so obviously I caught like bits and pieces of it, but I do agree with you. I think that because this was the season that he, can I say a spoiler or no?
Yeah, Death Note's been out forever.
You're right.
If you haven't watched it at this point, it's on you.
So L is the one that's going after Light, and this is the season that L dies, right? Or no? Is that further along?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, is this also the season that Light's dad like is holding the gun in the cab?
The car scene, where he
that one
kidnaps him.
Okay, so this is the season that he like relinquishes his death note to Lucy, I think is her name, or something like that, the blonde.
Yeah, I think at this point it's to her Shikigami there.
Rin,
yeah,
something like that,
and which makes both of them lose their memories.
Yeah. That's right. Yes.
So
okay.
So the scene you're thinking about where he's trying to get his son to confess to being
he genuinely thinks he's not because he lost his memory.
Yes.
Okay, so it goes back to his original self.
And that right there is one of the reasons that made me hate it in the first. Not hate it, but just dislike it because it was just getting so convoluted for no reason.
Yeah.
I was like, the whole premise of your show is you have a notebook that kills people when you write their name in it. That's plenty. You can keep it as simple as that.
Yeah.
And do the cops and robbers on the side.
I think what they were trying to do was they were trying to make it like they were trying to extend it, right? And so you can only take that concept so far until people get bored with it. So they're like, all right, what can we do to keep this going, right? To keep people entertained. So he's going to give up his death note and he's going to lose his memory and voila, he's going to somehow get it back, which I can't remember how he gets it back. I know he does. I just can't remember, but yeah, no, L, I think that was my favorite character. And I just think that when he like just whenever he just left the show is what I'll say. I was like, all right, I'm done. Because the other two people that they brought in, like just they weren't giving
Nier and the other chocolate bar eater.
Yes, the rock and roll guy. They weren't giving the same energy that L was giving, right? It's just something about him, man. Like I said, I wasn't a huge Death Note person, but I did really like that character.
When you're watching the series and you're watching Light's perspective and then L's perspective, Light already knows he's the bad guy and he knows what he's doing. L doesn't have any clues or any evidence. He's building this as he's going along and stringing along these different,
He's putting the puzzle together.
Yeah, he's putting the puzzle together. And so as you're watching, when you see both perspectives, you're looking at L and you're just like, damn, my boy doesn't miss. He's just on it. And that's what made him like special and cool.
And I think that's why I really liked him.
And then just obviously Nier and the other one just didn't have that same vibe. So there was one you were mentioning to me earlier that had a second season that you weren't so fond of.
Yeah. So like I think this is funny because we have very different tastes, and that's gonna show right now. So when I was a wee lad, I found...
We Irish now?
Yes. No. I found Junjou Romantica, which is a BL. And for those of you who do not know, that stands for Boys Love, or in other words, yaoi.
Oh,
yes.
I should have guessed.
You should have known. Anyway, so the first season, so cute. Like, oh my goodness. I loved it so much. It was so good. Like, okay, so the main character, I'm just going to give you the bits and the pops. The main character starts living with this guy, right? Kind of like a family friend-ish. And then he's a little bit older. And so like they have like relations, but the main character is very like, this is very new to him. So he's just like kind of shy and like, oh my God, no, like we can't do that, you know, like, and it's cute. Like it's cute for the first season. I'm like, I love it. I can get into this. Like, this is great. Their relationship is developing, right? So you go into the second season thinking like, okay, you've spent some time together. Like you know what the business is. Like, you know what this is, you know what relationship you have with this person. Right. So I'm thinking, okay, this is like his personality is going to be a little bit mature now because he's in college, and it's like, you know, whatever. No, it's the exact same. And I'm like, this is so like, I don't know. It's just like I said, it's cute for a little bit, but then it's just like annoying. It's like, why is Usagi still with him? Like, you're an adult, like you're in college. Why are you still acting like, I don't know if I can say sexy time. But,
I think you could say sexy time.
Okay. But why are you acting like sexy time is like forbidden? It's just so annoying. I'm like, if I was Usagi, I would have left you a long ass time ago. Okay. Like, it was cute at first. It's not cute anymore. It's getting old.
So are you trying to say that it is just repetitive?
Yes, it was repetitive.
It just felt like the same season. They're just a little older, like a different background.
They kind of stuck with this like specific, like he just had this specific like character and personality, and they just stayed with that. And I just kind of wish that it had showed more development, right? Like, I wish that their relationship had grown a little bit more, but I felt like it was kind of on Usagi's end, which he was the older guy, but the younger main character, it was just like stagnant. Like, it was the same thing. He kept giving the same thing, though he wanted it to develop. He just like, I don't know, it just never did. And so I was just like, I don't know, I was kind of bummed.
That's kind of one of my biggest gripes with the Dragon Ball Z in particular is Goku as the main character. You know, he's a very hopeful, and whenever you see him on screen, you're inspired, and you know something is going to turn around in the current battlefield because he's here, and he gives everyone else hope, and you know, is a beacon basically.
Right.
But he doesn't really have any development. Like, he doesn't really grow as a character, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see him really be a better father or anything like that. You don't see him, you know, be a better husband to Chi-Chi or...
Yeah. Poor Chi-Chi.
Kind of any, you know, slice of life stuff that you look for, even in a shonen.
Yeah.
Or a violent anime. Like, sometimes you want to see your favorite characters grow a little bit, and so I can see how you not getting that at all in that second season would just kind of just totally just
like after a while you just get bored of it. Like, it's just
like, did you watch the whole thing or did you give up? Oh, okay.
No, girl, I watched the whole thing. I was in it for the long haul. I was like, it's fine,
maybe the next episode.
Yes. And I kept saying that through all, I believe there's 13 episodes, through all 12 or 13 episodes. I was like, come on, you gotta give me something here. Like, he's going to leave you, and I want y'all to like be together forever.
Is this on Crunchyroll? Mm-hmm. I did not know they had yaoi.
See, listen, when I was a wee lad, I did not know what Crunchyroll was, to be honest. I was watching anime on probably an illegal website called Kiss Anime, where they had all the viruses. Thank God I had a what's that laptop?
A MacBook?
Yes, I had a MacBook. So it protected me a little bit.
That built-in antivirus worked real good, and it's working overtime with your coins. Were you buying coins back then? She has, so in order for her to read all her manga, she has this website where she buys coins.
I have multiple apps that I use to read manga. And yes, I do have to spend money on coins and purchase said manga.
With coins. And she has gotten hacked many times.
That's ugly. Leave me alone. I haven't recently. I think we're good. I think we got rid of all the bad ones.
And then, so on the cover of this thumbnail, we had what's his face from Black Butler?
Alois.
Did you change your mind on that, or?
I did. No, I still feel the same way. I just didn't want to like talk about it because it's been so long since I've seen that one. I just remember the feeling of not liking the second season. And I think that's just because it was just too much. It was so chaotic. Like the first season had such a solid story and it was smooth and it just had a really good progression. And then the ending I thought was a proper ending, right? And like you go into the second season and they introduce new characters and like what have you. And Alois is like the new main character of the next season. And I don't know. I wasn't vibing with him as a character. Like he was just too much. Like he had a lot of anger. He was just extremely violent for like no fucking reason. And I'm like, I get it. You've gone through some shit, but there's no reason why you got to stab your maid in the eyeball. Okay.
So it's almost like watching Breaking Bad or Peaky Blinders in a sort of way where the character he's always doing sketchy, like something sketchy, and you're just asking him to take a break for an episode,
it's like, relax.
Have a breather.
Yeah, like relax.
So it's kind of stressful watching the show.
Yeah,
I don't know if stressful is the right word.
I wouldn't say stressful. It was just like, it just didn't make sense to me, right? Like that portion of it, like the violence. Like I get that you've gone through some shit, but it was just like, he's a kid. Like he's probably 12 or 13 years old or however the fuck old he is. And he is just so violent. Like the amount of violence, like in the first season, CL, he was out for revenge or whatever, but I don't know. He had this like maturity, like this air to him. And I really respected him as a character. And I loved his butler, Sebastian. Great. Like I loved their relationship. But I don't know, something about the second season just didn't, like, the taste just wasn't the same. And I was like, I don't really like the direction that they went in for it. That's a better way to explain it.
Well, I was going to say, does it feel forced from the author to have all these violent moments to try to keep people more engaged, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
Just to have some kind of edginess to it to where they didn't really know where to go with it at first. So he's like, I'm just going to make him do something extremely
like, don't get me
violent.
wrong. The first season definitely had its violence. Like they had like Jack the Ripper and like all this shit. But
it made sense for the violence.
Yes. Like I said, the progression made sense, right? It was a build up to it. Whereas the first fucking episode is like, boom, right off the bat. It's just, I'm like, damn. Like, okay, like I don't even know who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
Like give me some fucking backstory. Like give me something.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, but I didn't want to talk about that one because again, it has been a minute since I've seen it.
I only wanted to talk about it because I spent an hour cutting out that
Alois
picture for the thumbnail.
I know. You should know this by now. I changed my mind.
I know.
Okay.
I did have one, but it's not technically, like we couldn't technically talk about it because it's Kaiju No8. And based off the first...
Wait, I was going to say, does that one have a second season already? Or are you talking about the manga?
The manga. I know what's coming.
Yeah.
And I don't have high hopes for it at all.
Oh, why?
Not because it's like terribly bad or anything.
Okay.
It's just because it's so fast paced. It is so fast paced to where it almost makes me feel uncomfortable reading it because
interesting.
Yeah, I don't like it. I like slow burns. I like slow build up, especially when we're talking about powers. Like in shonens with main characters.
Because you really like training arcs.
I love training arcs so much.
So that makes sense.
And so I want to see the slow burn, and I'm sorry, I want to see 30, 40 episodes.
I want you to work for it.
Yes.
I want you to put in the work and to earn it, right?
Yes.
Not just to be handed it.
So something like the Hashira training arc in Demon Slayer, I love it. It's a whole season just for getting stronger.
I know.
I couldn't be happier. I know a lot of people hate that, but I do. I love it. But it's so, it goes so fast. And it's kind of like Chainsaw Man. You know how we're watching where something just pops off all of a sudden? Like one of your favorite characters is just gone.
Yeah. Poof.
And you're just like, what? Okay. I didn't.
Bye.
Like, I feel like they should have had a better send off than that. Or, it's kind of like this, but with everything all at once at the same time.
Yeah. But I will say there are a lot of times that anime is kind of like aren't exactly the same as mangas. So I would still give it a chance because
I'm definitely going to.
Okay.
I'm already doom and glooming it. I don't know why.
Okay. That's your prerogative.
Season 2 of all animes is Promised Neverland.
Yes.
That one was doomed from the start. So I can't really blame the author for that one just because you built up such a good, I want to say just start to a story. It's hard to follow it up once they kind of achieved their goal of what the first season is.
It's like, what do you do now?
Yes. Yeah. And they're not, because in season 1, they're basically, they're confined to the farm. Yeah. It's a defined premise, like parameters, like they can only go so far.
Right.
And once they break out of that, they have the whole world basically. So how are you going to confine that and make it to where that tension from season 1, which that's what made it so good, is still there in season 2, but it makes sense and it works.
So is it because it's like now it's so like broad, like because they're out in the open, like this storyline can go in so many different ways that you kind of lose that like intensity almost.
So you lose the intensity, but once something happens, once he dictates like, okay, they escaped the farm, they're running through the woods, and the first thing that happens, if it's not up to your expectations of what you think should happen, it's already a letdown.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Because so they say in the start of the season 2, they get pursued by the demon hunters. And they get saved by the other 2, the good demons.
Right.
Hide out in the cave, and they train them for a couple months or whatever the time frame is. And
then they help them like.
Yes, but if that wasn't the direction you wanted it to go, it's already ruined.
Yeah.
It's too late. And that's, episode 1. So then it's all downhill from there.
Right.
For you as an individual. But I think a lot of people just felt that way because, like I said, you had so many options to choose from, and this is the direction we're going.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, crap. Because then he, later on in the season, I say later on, it's like episode 3 or 4, they go back to being confined again into like an underground bunker. And it's kind of like a safe house.
Oh, okay.
Type area.
Okay.
And, but that immediate danger that was there from the
first season,
the mothers, always constantly under surveillance and stuff, isn't really there. Like there's some tension because there's people after them, and the safe house they're staying in has some like creepy vibes, but for the most part, it's still not there.
Right.
So whatever happens, it, like I said, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Or,
Yeah, no, I never got into Promised Neverland. I think I watched a couple of episodes while you were watching it, like every now and then. And like you kind of filled me in as we were like going along. But I can't do kids, man. Like anything that has to do with children and or animals, I'm like, it's a no for me, dog.
Cheetah.
See?
You didn't even know.
I didn't even watch it.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch the first few episodes of Chainsaw Man And I'm glad that I didn't.
I won't let her watch the first 2 episodes.
Because even though he's not a dog, he's a dog to me.
He's very strong dog vibes, for sure.
Yes, and they have such a good relationship. I just know in my heart and soul that I would just cry. I would bawl tears and it would be ugly. I'd have snot coming down. I cannot do it. I just cannot. Like, it's a no.
I kid you not. We literally can't watch John Wick in this house. If I do want to watch the first John Wick, I have to skip the first 20 minutes. It's no debate.
And if you've seen that movie, you know why.
But okay, so we talked about bad second seasons, I guess in our own opinions. Let's not end on a negative. Let's end on a positive. And what would be some of your favorite arcs or seasons? It doesn't matter which order they're in or anything like that. But
I guess I would consider this an arc, but I was talking to you about that sumo anime. I think it's called Hero something sumo. Hiroshima. Nope, that's not right. You know what I'm talking about.
The main character who's just a short,
fucking yoked.
tank.
He is yoked. And when he comes into the anime, he's only like, he's a 3rd-year middle schooler. And I'm like, bruh. And he's out of high school. I'm like, that's crazy to me. And he's like, it's amazing. So his goal in life, like it's just so inspiring. And it's like, I don't remember exactly when I found it, but it was so like motivating. Like I was like, I need to go to the gym. Like I need to be active and like blah, 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 blah.
He's one of those characters.
Yes, because he's like, I don't want to say he's an underdog because I don't think he considers himself an underdog. I think he knows his shortcomings, but he doesn't let that defeat him. Right. And so he is, really passionate about sumo. But he has a smaller build, which in the world of sumo, typically you're larger, like your size is your virtue. And like, if you're big, you're a good sumo wrestler, right? Well, he is tiny, but he's yoked. But he's tiny. And so a lot of people
he's stacked like a porterhouse.
My God.
Sure.
Yeah. Whenever he says that he's a 3rd-year middle schooler, I'm like, dude, you look like you've been through some shit. But that's just how passionate about sumo that he is. Cause he would train and train and train. And so his goal in life is to be like the best sumo wrestler. And I can't remember the name or the title that you get. It starts with a Y. Yaki something something something. I'm so sorry if I disrespected anybody by not remembering these names. I apologize. But anyways, so his goal is to be one of the stepping stones into being this title is he needs to be the #1 wrestler in high school, right? So he is trying to go to this school, but he ends up at the wrong school, whatever. And so he joins the school. He's growing the sumo club, and he is inspiring these different types of people who don't know anything about sumo, and they all have different interactions with him, and they all get inspired by it, and they end up joining the sumo club. And it's just I just love the growth, and I highly recommend watching it because it's so good. But yeah, that would probably be if that's an arc, that would probably be one of my favorites.
Which is kind of surprising. You could have given me 1,000 guesses.
I know.
And I never would have said a sumo wrestling anime ever.
It just did something for me. I'm not really big into sports animes, but that one really did it for me.
Did you just randomly find it one day and just watch it, or was it recommended to you?
No, it definitely wasn't recommended to me, but yeah, I think I found it on Crunchyroll. I'm just trying to remember. I think I was just browsing, and then I'm really big on the art. So if I see the cover art and if it looks good, I'm like, okay, so I'll click into it, and then I'll read the details, right? And gives you a little short summary. And I guess I liked it enough to watch it, and I just was hooked. And I was like, okay, let's fucking go. I just again, I kind of like that underdog feeling. Even though he wasn't necessarily an underdog, it did give that vibe. So I was just I want to see him succeed. I want to see him win,
Which those are probably some of the best animes, the ones you randomly just come across.
I know.
That you've never heard of, and they're just sleepers, and you watch them and you're just damn, it kind of changed your perspective, your outlook on life a little bit in a small way.
It does. It kind of made me broaden my horizons because I'm definitely like a one note girly. Like I love obviously romance animes. And so like I would look for things that had that feeling or kind of evolved around romance in some form or fashion. And it made me realize that there are other good animes out there that aren't necessarily like evolving around romance.
I think one that we could mutually agree on is the first arc in Bleach, the Aizen arc. So damn good.
So good.
And I never watched it. I read it.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit growing up, but like I said, I didn't like reference Bleach as anime back then. I just...
What's his name? Renji? That's daddy right there.
So I read it last year, the whole thing, in, I think 2 weeks or whatever, the entire story of Bleach. And still, the Aizen arc is by far my favorite, one of my favorite arcs in manga, really. Like I easily put it top 10. But the only thing that was just painful, it was painful to get through, is that the author, Tai, he mixed in, for the names, Japanese and Spanish, and fused them together. I don't know if you remember some of their names. I cannot say them at all. Like if you're looking to me to say one right now to give you,
I was, but now not so much.
I couldn't even read it, let alone say it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I'll have to go back and show you. And some of them it might have been in the next arc afterwards. But some of them had the Japanese, Spanish, and German mixed together. It was terrible. Terrible.
Oh my God.
For a boy that grew up in Texas.
Mount Pleasant.
Yes, it was.
I can't say that their name.
Yeah, that's basically how I was reading it. And
so uncultured.
Yeah, and then I actually had a manhwa that has an arc in it.
Oh, yeah.
That is probably one of the greatest training arcs ever. And that's from the second coming of Gluttony. And if you're reading it right now, I'm not going to spoil too much.
Yeah.
But it's basically you can read it as a web novel right now, but it exists as 10 different books and it's all fused together.
Yeah.
It has like 496 chapters, but each chapter I would equate to regular,
like 5 regular chapters.
Yeah, or maybe even 10. They're long.
That's wild.
Yeah, some of the chapters you can spend a solid like 30 minutes and you're on the same chapter easily. And the arc in this story that I'm talking about is called The Trial of Gula, because with this world, it's humans come over from Earth to this place called Paradise. It's basically just in another dimension, another part in space where this other world exists. And humans are granted powers by the gods, which are the 7 deadly sins. And the main character, Soul, his chosen god is Gula, the sin of gluttony. And he goes through this trial. And again, I'm not going to spoil a whole bunch, but it's the best training art trial, whatever you want to call it, I've ever read.
It's hard.
I'm not going to go into detail, but you just got to read it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. I never read it, but you did tell me like bits and pieces as you were reading it. Cause God, how long did it take you to finish it?
Literally months.
Yeah. I remember when like you were starting it and like you just kept at it. And I was like, God damn, how long is this shit?
And you know how I read manga.
Yeah.
When I get into a new one, I think I read Solo Leveling in 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
I read Demon Slayer in, I don't know, 4 days.
Yeah.
You know, I chain read whenever I'm not doing anything.
No, I know.
So that you really got to sit down and read, like take the time out and read. Like,
yeah.
You got to spend all day reading if you want to finish it in a timely manner. But
yeah. But it's a good read from what you were saying.
And so that from the second coming of Gluttony, thank you, Jake, by the way, for recommending that story. For Demon Slayer, like I said, the Hashira training arc, it's up there for me. And I know a lot of people are going to kind of hate on me for that one. Just because.
I love it.
Yeah, it's so good. Plus, you know, they're all jacked up and beefy, you know, and it's just, you couldn't be happier about that.
Do you think it was because there was like more comedic relief in that season?
Oh yeah, they definitely ramped it up.
Yeah. Do you think that's why people like didn't like it, or was it just because like they just want to get to the action?
No, I think universally, like a lot of people do not like training arcs.
That's crazy.
From what I've read on forums, on Reddit, YouTube, and just different discords. Like, people do not like training
That is
arcs.
so wild to me, because that's like one of the biggest moments in your favorite characters' like careers, essentially. Like, that really develops who they are as a character. Like, that's some of their hardest times that they're going to go through. It's like, why wouldn't you want to see that? You know, because you see where they are, you see what they've gone through, and you see what they've become. Like, you can't have one without the other, you know?
To me, it's boring if you go from one season into the next season and they're just say they're stronger with no explanation.
What happened?
Yeah.
Why are you yoked now? You were just a little skinny lad.
That kind of happened in Black Clover with Astra. We got a little.
I didn't like
Mr. Thick Neck over here.
Yeah, what's up with that? That is just weird. First of all, like, I thought Black Clover was really good, and then you showed me that, and I was like, oh. And I know I was talking shit about like not caring about animation, but that's the one. That's the one that I'm like, I cannot watch this. He just looks fucking weird. Like, what is that?
They added like 20 pounds of muscle on him without giving him any height.
I know.
He was still the same like 12-year-old body.
Gross.
But like a bodybuilder, and it just, I don't know. It was
like, he looks like he's gonna go into like cardiac arrest.
But I mean, they
moment.
animated it according to the manga. It's how he looked in the manga, so it can't really
just weird.
Knock him for that.
Ugh, just weird.
Anyway,
it's hard watch.
I think a lot of people feel like training arcs are just filler almost, and
some are like, there are bits like, whenever, just to touch on Hunter x Hunter for a second now. Like, there are episodes in there when they're working with Elizabeth, right? That's her name. The buff lady who turns into a little girl. Mm-hmm. Is that her name?
She's called Biscuit.
I don't know why I call her Elizabeth. But yeah, no. So there's a couple of like episodes in that arc where they're training, because she's training them essentially, that are definitely filler. I'm like, There's also episodes in the Angel Arena that I think are filler and not necessarily necessary. There's not very many, but there's a few.
Okay. Hey, I gotta unpack what you just said there, because there's a lot of misinformation going on. For one, the first filler you were talking about with Biscuit, that's the Greed Island arc, which is arguably one of the greatest arcs in Hunter x Hunter.
All right.
Which I think is almost universally like hated by a lot of people that I've talked to.
So I'm right.
Because of all the training. But yes, there is some filler in there mixed when...
Not every single episodes are going to be winners, right? You're going to have some duds in there. That's life.
But to me, it's not filler, regardless. Just even if it's a 0.1% increase in power from picking up a rock and throwing it.
Mm-hmm. You're talking to somebody who's really passionate about Hunter x Hunter, by the way. So if you're not, then this doesn't apply to you.
Yeah, that's canon. He threw that rock, he got stronger. That's how I see it. Right? Okay. And two, I think what you're trying to say was the Heaven's Arena arc.
Whatever.
I seriously don't recall any filler in that season.
I'll give you one. Ready?
Okay.
It's when they left the Heaven's Arena and they're out in public and they're like, all right, I'm going to go this way. And then I'm going to go this way. Okay, we'll just go that way. And then they go that way. That's it.
I don't recall.
Really?
Yeah. I was more focused on your Professor X and
I had to remember
cosplay that you just did, but
okay.
You're talking about one scene in one episode. That is not filler. Filler would be the entire, like if they walked around and like looked for a cat or something, I'm like, okay, filler.
Yeah, not every single episode can just be like honing your skills and like training. We're training every day. Like there's no fucking way. Cause then yes, I can understand. Like you gotta have like those softer moments to balance out all of the hardcore moments. Like it can't just be all hard.
Well, really what I think you're talking about is the filler that we experience when watching Naruto the first time.
Yeah.
So what generally happens is if an anime is caught up to the manga, And the chapter releases for the manga aren't coming out like weekly, like they take breaks or whatever happens, the author's sick.
That's when the fillers come in.
Then they start going off, the anime starts going off on its own story until it can catch back up to the manga to where it has enough. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I don't believe that had to happen with Hunter x Hunter until maybe later on, until the Chimera Ant arc.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but for what I remember, up until I think Greed Island, they were pretty much, the manga had already been established at that point. And that could be way off, but I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
I'm just never gonna argue with you when it comes to Hunter x Hunter because.
Oh please! I don't know. Like I read.
I mean, you know more than me.
I read it and then try to rewatch it once a year.
That whole anime is filler for me. Like, it's just not my vibe.
Yeah. Did you have another arc that you want, like one of your, top 5, top 3, even? What would you say?
So I don't know. I guess like every time I think about like an arc, I'm kind of like with you. I think about training arcs and like what have you, but I think an arc is more of just like following a specific story or seeing a specific like development within a character or multiple characters. So there is one that I like constantly think about, and it's Fruits Basket. And this anime holds a very special place in my heart. This is probably one of the first animes that I bought on DVD, apart from Inuyasha. I had my dad take me to Best Buy. I was like 16, and I was like, I need to get this. And he was like, what is this? And I was like, it's this. And it had this really wholesome cover on it. And he was like, okay. It's so good, but there's a specific like arc that I like, and it's the one with Kyo, and he's the cat zodiac of their family. And in the family, like he is like shunned. He's an outcast. Like nobody likes him. They all like treat him like he's a monster. And he genuinely believes that about himself. And so Toru comes, and she's like now a part of his life. And she's just this pure-hearted person, and she's gone through some shit herself, but she basically teaches him how to accept himself and to accept love. And because she ends up seeing his like true form, which is like this monster. And that is like one of the saddest fucking episodes. I just ugly cried. And we all think that, everybody thinks that Toru is like not going to accept him or whatever. And she does. And it's so good. And then it's just like so much love. And I loved it. It was so good. But that's like my favorite.
When we catch up on Fire Force, I'm going to have to at least try an episode of Fruit Baskets. Just because I know it's been around forever.
It's actually got a remake. So I think the original one came out in either 2001 or 2005. And then the remake came out in 2019. And I don't really care about the animation because this one obviously is a lot more modern, a lot more updated compared to the early 2000s. And the story slightly changed. Like they introduced like different characters and things like that. Like Yuki actually gets a love interest, obviously, and blah, 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 whatever. So we can watch either one because I think they're both good. But my favorite is always going to be the OG. I want
to watch the OG, just the roots.
It is so good. I just love the concept because in the Chinese zodiac, you have 12 animals, right? But then like in this show,
I think I'm the monkey.
I'm the rat. But anyways, there's 13 technically. And there's just like, I just love the story around it. And like, there's a lot of like animosity with the cat and the rat, the rat is Yuki. And then I think that's his name. Sounds right. And then there's Kyo, who's the cat. And so they hate each other, because the cat was fooled by the rat and missed the, assembly that they had for the zodiac. That's why he's not actually a part of the zodiac, because he never made it there because the rat fooled him. So
like Tom and Jerry.
Exactly. No,
I want to try it just because it's been around forever, and just why not?
I got it on DVD. All seasons.
We do not have a DVD player.
Shit.
Yeah, that
It's on the list of things to
everything's
get.
digital now. We're 2024. I don't know if I would call it an arc, but it definitely one of my favorite newer-ish seasons was Hell's Paradise.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Okay, see, I'm not usually into stuff like that too, but I actually liked that one.
And what really did it for me was just the environment, the world.
Yes. Yes.
The actual island they go to. That right there
So
hit
cool.
all the right vibes.
Yeah, it just like changed the brain chemistry a little bit. Like I loved the colors, and like there's one episode that I'm remembering is when they meet those two, like, I don't want to say they're like fairies or nymphs because that's not right. Are they like gods or something? I'm not sure. But they meet, you know what I'm talking about.
I don't know. I can't remember what they're referenced as in the actual world.
Yeah.
But they're like demigods.
Yeah,
almost.
I don't
and
know.
They can
but I
change
just really, their gender.
Yeah.
Love.
On command.
I love that.
Yeah.
I was like, this is so
They're
good.
gender fluid.
I loved it. Good job, Charles.
Yeah.
But
in like an actuality, like they can immediately switch.
No,
to
I know.
male
It's
or
so
female.
dope. It's so dope. Like, and again, I agree with you. I think that like where they were, the environment was just so cool. Like it was like, I'm sure that there have been environments similar to this in other animes, but like none come to mind. And I was just like, this concept is so cool to me. And I think that's what pulled me in because again, I don't normally gravitate towards like violence and like action packed animes.
That one's real violent.
It is. There is a little bit of romance, which is nice. Cause the main character, he has a wife, right? Back home.
He's trying to get it's like elixir of life or something from this island.
Because she's sick or something.
Yeah, because people believe that this elixir comes from this island. I think I could.
Yeah.
Fucking this up.
Yes. Because what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to bring the elixir back to the blah blah blah, and then if they do, then they're like released of their like sentencing, right?
And then he's wants to save his wife, but yes. So you get a little bit of romance.
Just give me a little bit, and I'm good.
His guardian, is that what you want to call her?
She's such a badass.
Yeah.
She's a low-key badass. Like, I feel like she doesn't have a lot of confidence in herself, but she's so strong, and we love a good, strong female lead. We love it. One of the saddest things, though, that I was disappointed in was her, like, I guess supervisor is what we'll call him. And he's supposed to be like a daddy. He's supposed to be a badass. He's like the main guy of the crew, and he's in charge of like the big one that eats people, I guess. I was so pissed.
Okay, he's basically fighting like a god. It's not fair.
I was so pissed because they just got there. They like just fucking got there. They got off the boat. They're walking on the beach, and then he turns around and this man eats him. That's it. There's nothing else. I was so disappointed. I was like, you're supposed to be the GOAT. Like, you're supposed to be OP because you're like the leader of these people. Like, you're obviously the strongest one, right? And you get eaten. That's it. Sorry.
Speaking of eating, next episode, we're going to be talking about food-related animes.
My favorite.
The whole hour.
One of my favorites.
And there's a bunch. When you brought it up, I looked it up and I was like, oh, crap. I'm going to have to be doing some research. There is a lot of food-related animes.
And there's also food and romance.
Interesting.
Food wars.
Oh, romance.
Yes.
I mean, romance with the food.
No. No. The main character and then the god tongue. I forget her name.
That is like such a...
That's what her title is.
You got to phrase that one carefully when
That's
you're
what her
speaking
title
out in
is.
public. You know what I'm saying?
Anyways.
But yes.
There's some unrequited. They don't know that they like each other, but they do.
Did you watch the very last season?
No.
Anyway, we'll watch it, but next episode, everything food related.
Woo!
Thanks for watching.
Bye. Welcome to Late Night Jutsu's podcast hour.
I'm not ready yet.
Oh. We created this channel for couples to talk all things manga and anime related. I'm your host, Kaylin.
Are you going or?
No.
Okay.
I'm being sarcastic.
Episode 2 in the house.
Wah, wah, wah. Wah, wah, wah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Are you sure that's not like tequila in there?
No.
And your carbonated
I wasn't
water?
doing the cruise ship horn.
Okay, not the cruise ship